The flight from New York to San Diego was supposed to be routine. It was late evening, the kind of night when the clouds hang low and the world outside the window feels like an endless void. Inside the cabin, most passengers were dozing off, lulled by the steady hum of the engines and the faint glow of reading lights. In seat 14B, a woman sat quietly with a paperback novel resting in her lap. Her short cropped hair and posture said discipline, though her plain clothes gave nothing away. She looked like any other traveler, but she wasn't. Then, without warning, the calm shattered. A loud metallic bang echoed through the cabin, followed by a sudden jolt. Drinks spilled. The overhead bins rattled. The plane dipped sharply to one side, and terrified gasps filled the air. A few seconds later, the intercom crackled. The captain's voice, usually composed and friendly, now carried a tremor that sent a chill through everyone's spine. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've lost pressure in the left engine. Please remain seated. Flight attendants, secure the cabin." The aircraft trembled again. Somewhere near the back, a baby began to cry. The flight attendants tried to stay calm, but their eyes betrayed the truth. Something was seriously wrong. Then, the captain's voice returned. "Is there any trained pilot or military personnel on board? If so, please identify yourself immediately." The words hung in the air like a silent alarm. People turned to one another, wide-eyed, searching the faces around them. No one moved, until, from row 14, a woman slowly rose to her feet. She didn't shout, didn't hesitate. She simply unbuckled, steadied herself against the shaking wall, and said clearly, "I can help." A man 2 rows back, broad-shouldered, with a tactical calmness in his eyes, recognized something in her stance. He stood too, revealing the insignia tattooed faintly on his wrist, a Navy SEAL trident. "You're a pilot?" he asked over the noise. She turned her head just slightly. Her voice was calm, almost quiet. "Combat pilot, Air Force, retired." The SEAL nodded once. No more words needed. He knew what that meant. Together, they moved toward the cockpit. Passengers watched them go, whispering prayers and staring in awe. It was a moment when fear met hope, and hope took the lead. Inside the cockpit, chaos reigned. Warning lights flashed across the panel. One of the pilots slumped in his seat, and the other was pale, his hands trembling as he fought the controls. The woman stepped in without hesitation. "Captain, I'm Major Evelyn Ross, United States Air Force, retired. What's your status?" The captain looked up in shock. A civilian flight, a failing engine, and now a stranger claiming she could help. But something in her tone made him trust her instantly. "Hydraulics are failing. I can't stabilize altitude," he said. She nodded sharply. "Let me in." Sliding into the co-pilot's seat, her hands moved with practiced precision. She began flipping switches, cross-checking systems, and rerouting power. Within moments, the plane stopped its violent dips and steadied, still descending, but under control. The SEAL took position behind her, relaying instructions to the crew through the cabin intercom. "Everyone stay calm. The situation's being handled." Passengers sat frozen, watching the flight attendants' faces, their tension replaced by cautious relief. Back in the cockpit, Evelyn's voice remained calm and clipped. "Engine 2 is gone. We're switching to manual hydraulics. Contact ATC, tell them we're declaring an emergency descent." The captain followed her lead like a student following a teacher. For 20 excruciating minutes, she coordinated altitude, wind speed, and fuel ratios, her mind racing faster than the instruments themselves. Every motion, every breath, was discipline honed from years of missions she never talked about. At one point, the SEAL asked quietly, "You've done this before?" Her eyes stayed on the horizon. "Once," she said, "over Afghanistan. Lost hydraulics, sandstorm incoming. But at least then I had ejector seats." A faint smile crossed his face despite the danger. "Guess we're all staying in this one." They both knew, one wrong move, and it wouldn't matter who they were. But she didn't falter. Every second she fought for control, every instinct screaming, every ounce of training focused on one goal: bring them home. At last, a runway appeared through the fog, faint lights cutting through the night. The control tower's voice came through. "Flight 173, you're clear to land. Winds at 11 knots. She exhaled once. "All right," she whispered. "Let's do this." The descent was rough. Alarms blaring, passengers bracing, metal groaning, but the plane stayed aligned. The landing gear hit the tarmac with a violent thud, then screeched, then slowed. And finally, silence. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then applause broke out. Loud, raw, unstoppable. Strangers hugged, cried, prayed. The SEAL turned to her. "You just saved over 200 people." Evelyn looked at him, her hands still resting on the controls, knuckles pale. Then she smiled softly. Guess muscle memory doesn't fade. When they exited the cockpit, every passenger wanted to thank her, shake her hand, take her picture, know her name. But she avoided the spotlight. She helped the crew check the aisles, comforted a crying child, even helped an elderly woman retrieve her bag. Outside, emergency lights painted the tarmac in red and white flashes. The SEAL caught up to her near the terminal doors. "You could have stayed seated," he said. "No one would have known who you were." She gave a faint laugh. "That's not how I was trained." He studied her for a moment, then asked, "You sure you're retired?" Her eyes lifted toward the dawn breaking over the horizon. "You never really retire from courage," she said quietly. "You just wait for the next time it's needed." Then she walked away. No name tags, no uniform, just a calm silhouette fading into the crowd. Later, when reporters tried to identify her, there was no record. No photos, no interviews. Just stories whispered by passengers who would never forget her face, or the calm in her eyes when everything seemed lost. The SEAL captain, when asked by investigators what happened, simply replied, "An angel flew us home." Narrator closing line. This is classified courage, where rank doesn't define bravery, and heroes rise when no one else will. If you believe in courage that doesn't need medals, hit subscribe, and join us next time for another untold story of silent strength.